Hello and welcome to another episode of Commander Fodder. So this is the one that's based on the deck battle episode for Nemesis in terms of the cards or the rares that I get to choose from. So in that episode there were 6 rares. There was Sapling Cluster, Rocks, Pale Moon, Pack Hunt and Death Pit Offering, and also Rootwater Thief, which is a 1 and a blue creature merfolk. Rootwater Thief gains flying until end of turn. Whenever Rootwater Thief deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. If you do, search that player's library for a card and remove that card from the game. Then the player shuffles his or her library. So I must admit the different choices here. I could have probably gone for some sort of sapling deck in green. This doesn't really work because of course I'm playing in Commander, so I wouldn't have 3 copies of a target creature. I couldn't really see how I could leverage Pale Moon in a deck. I'm sure there's a way somehow. And with Death Pit Offering, again, I imagine it's would be more of a combo deck. Now, so what I decided to do is sort of look at the ability on here and try and find a commander that had something similar. So something that where you paid something, you got an additional benefit. That's what I'm looking for. So you got an additional benefit. So with Krydle, whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Whereas with this one, interestingly, it does have a form of evasion on it, but that's a different ability. This one, you get flying. But down here, if you pay 2, you can search that player's library for a card and remove the card from the game. Then that player shuffles his or her library. There's another ability on here as well, so whenever Krydle of Baldur's Gate deals combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life and mills a card, then you gain 1 life and scry 1. So there's various manipulation things going on here. It's not an exact match, but yeah, that's the best I could come up with. Now, what I also wanted to do is sort of going with this theme of when a creature does combat damage, you get X. I needed to put in some extra cards for seeding purposes because the algorithm won't work when it's below a certain threshold, and I might have problems with the regular Architect algorithm as well because this is probably relatively new. I think it is actually relatively new. So as a consequence, let me just check that. Yeah, very new. Yeah, so we'll see. As a consequence, I may have to just use the built-in EDHREC algorithm, which isn't a problem, but it's just you get a bit more interesting suggestions when you use the Architect one. So additionally, I'm going to put in a couple of extra things before I start going through the recommendation. So we've got Mirko Vosk Mind Drinker, 3 blue red 2/4 with flying. It is a legendary, but we're just going to play it as a regular creature. When it does combat damage to the player, that player reveals cards from the top of his or library until he or she reveals 4 land cards, then puts those cards into his or her graveyard. So it's sort of backing up this milling that this is doing here as well. So I'm going to go over here, and then Court of Cunning. When Court of Cunning enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, any number of target players each mill 2 cards. If you're the monarch, each of those players mills 10 cards instead. So we're going with a mill strategy here to some degree. And that needs to go in the enchantment slot, so let's do that. And then I'll just leave these in the maybe board. We're not going to do anything with them. I don't think I want to play the Death Pit Offering, even though I could. It's on colour. You want to do some clever combo with that, really. And currently I can't think of anything. So let's see what we have. Let's see if this recommends anything. Nope. Okay. So over to EDH Rec for this episode. Right. So do what I normally do. We just group through this. So yes, we want to play a Soul Ring. We will play a Signet. Oh yeah, we want this. What else we got? Oh, that's going to be interesting. Particularly on that, with that ability. Okay. So, got an interesting win condition. Now the question is it likely we're going to get a lot of card draw? I think we should wait and see. There's going to be a lot of black invested in this as well. If I'm milling, this is going to be really useful. And I definitely want a way of making sure I can't be blocked. So Thieves' Tool. Yeah, because I can target myself. So really that's just making sure that if I want, I don't have to pay anything. So what we got? Opponent, yeah, let's just really play up the unblockable point counter. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Okay, let's leave it at that for the moment in there with our artifacts. So let us see. That was pretty easy. We just used everything they suggested. Let's have a look at some planeswalkers. Oh, what's this? Let's put this in the deck and see. this is. I don't really want to exile their graveyard, actually. That's not really something I want to. Although I do have a choice, I suppose. Doesn't be your opponent's control can't cause their controller to search their library. I suppose. Does that go up against? So I'm just seeing how it make sure it doesn't counter it. If you do search that place, you search. Maybe that utility is worth it, and then I selectively could do that. So let me just check how this interacts with. Yeah, so that counteracts that if that's in play. If I choose to do that ability, but I'll leave that there for the moment. I don't think it's going to suggest anything. No. Commander's too new. Let's have a look at some utility land. Okay. Again. There are times when I might just want to completely flush people's graveyards down the drain, so to speak. So that, and a good old Dimir Aqueduct. Now, yeah, Rogue's Passage, seeing as we've got a lot of win conditions that are helped by that. Nephalia Drownyard, more mill. That works as long as I've chosen not to buff my commander. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other land types. Ooh. That works. Basic lands. Could play a Sunken Hollow. I like the artwork on that. Okay, let's shove in a Terramorphic. Cards in it. Okay, let's cut back on some of these. 1, 2, 3. I'll do for the moment. Okay, how are we doing? Not even close. Nope, not going to work. Oh well. Right, sorcery speed. Okay. Let's go full on mill. Bit of removal, mass removal. That looks interesting. I'll leave it at that for the moment. This is an evil deck. Okay, see what we've got in terms of instance. Interesting, really works with the theme we're playing. Let's look at the bottom first. Mana leak. So some Pongify type things. So we got some spot removal going on here. And all we want is obviously our. This is good because this staples together Counterspell and milling. What's this? Negate. Okay. Good way of dealing with non-creature spells. And good old Counterspell. So this one, yeah, definitely on theme, so that's good. Right, let's stop there for the moment with instance and see what we can do with some enchantments. Okay, whenever a creature you control does combat to play, exert the top card of that player's library face down. You may look at it. Menace, you play cards. Yeah, I don't know if that. I suppose I need to see. See, we could go. Let's see if it recommends. Well, I've looked at the creatures first. He recommends rogues generally. So we've got a bit of a rogue tribal going on here. Yep, we definitely want that. Consuming Aberration. And this is cool. If we've got loads of stuff, we might as well get it back. It's a rogue. Got an unblockable creature here, which is also a rogue. That's cool. It gives us card draw. Oh yeah, let's go with the rogue tribal mill. Rogue tribal mill, right. Unblockable, which will work nice with that piece of equipment we've got. Oh yeah. Shadow Mage Infiltrator. And of course this is rather cool because, oh hang on, is it? Oh no, I'm getting muddled up, sorry. Yeah, no, I was going to say, of course, the tribes in the block we're currently on would be rebels and mercenaries, so no. I thought for a moment I could find some rogues in the current block, but I don't know if there's that many. I know there's merfolk in there. Let's get a load of unblockables here. It's not a rogue. We'll go down the rogue rabbit hole first. Okay, that's interesting. That's good because I'm not playing any cards which rely. I think you saw there are a number of cards that cared about the power or toughness of a card, and one thing I was concerned about and I didn't want to play is if I'm buffing up my commander to do commander damage, then it's going to be counterproductive. So yeah, that's why I didn't want to play it. This is going to buff that power toughness, which I do want. Oh, I like this. That's an interesting card. You get to steal artifacts. Whenever Ghostly Pilfer becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. From anywhere other than their hand. It's interesting with some of the other stuff I'm playing. Turn it. You may. Okay. Gives you control. Yep. More mill. Do I want? Yeah. The top 4 cards of target opponent's library. Is that one of them? Any order? Yeah. I'm nicking their stuff a little bit. We'll have that. And then permanent play controls. It's Rogue Tribal. Okay. So, I suppose we're looking for a creature count in the mid to high 20s, probably. So let's go back to something that was I was thinking about here, which is there was that enchantment, which if you remember I said I just wanted to check here. So it cares about rogues. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards in there. So I'm looking for some enchantments that so in other ways I could get some mill going on here through card draw. Enchant paper 6 cards. Yeah. Have that. Yep. And when you read your card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to have Right, so I need to think about some possible other creatures in here. And of course some of those may not necessarily be rogues. See, what I can do as well is look at cards which leverage stuff that's in the graveyard. I think I've already got, yeah, Necropolis Regent in here. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to have a Hedron Crab in here. Let's get in another turnip wind can. Oh, hang on, I know what. If we're playing rogues. Oops. So we got Ruin Sage and Ruin Thief, and I think the Ruin Thief. Yeah, definitely. And of course there's that other fella. Another legendary. Let's put him in. Oh, it's was it Conrad the Grim? Seeing as we've got stuff going in. And then I suppose, if we're not too worried, we should. I've not really played this. And what's that other card? Is it Adaptive Automaton? Yeah, that's it. Him in. Still, as we're playing rogues, it wouldn't hurt us to put a Scroll Thief in. And we we should also put there's some older cards here. These are well, an older card I can think of was I've just been reminded of from just before I got back into Magic, and that's where is it? Nemesis of Reason. So this one, when Nemesis of Reason attacks, defending player puts the top 10 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. That one. It's not a rogue, but it does support the mill strategy here. And the other thing, Lazav, who's a shapeshifter, so yeah, that, don't think that's in already. No, it isn't. So that's going to be fun in here. Let's put in Ruin Crab. See, would something like a Notion Thief work in the deck, or is it working against us? If an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead that player skips that draw and you draw a card. So it depends whether some of the utility cards care about who's drawing what. And that's the only thing. I think I've got some cards in here that specifically want will get buffed when my opponents draw cards. So it's just going to sideboard that. Okay, so 6 cards here. We're doing pretty well on the creature side of things. I'm not sure whether, just try to think if there's anything that else I want to add really. I suppose I could put in it's a rogue, and I can target myself, get something to the top. I think I put Sig in here already. Yeah. I could beef up the enchantments a bit. I don't think I've got things like Aqueous Form. See, would I want to put in things like Arcane Denial? Probably not. Did I have a price? Yeah, I've got a price of fame in here. Let's just do a bit more spot removal so we can really lock some stuff down. Now I did have, no I didn't, no yeah, I've got Fractured Sanity in here. So I suppose what I do need is I need a way of dealing with enchantments. And the other thing actually I didn't even think of is we're playing blue, so we could also steal stuff. Like with a card like this. And of course, actually, I don't think I'll put it in here. I know. Oh no, we did traumatize. It's in there, that's right. Ooh. That's an idea. Psychic Drain. Of course, these are only one-hit things, and as I've been putting creatures in here, I would want to play this. So there's lots of different angles I can go with this deck. I can choose to sort of flush out people's graveyards, or I can choose to leverage the contents of their graveyard. How are we doing? Oh, there we go. So it probably needs a little bit of work in terms of I just can't think of, so what I'm looking for with the deck as well is I'd be interested in obviously ways of dealing with enchantments, because it's something I've not really looked at, although of course I can counterspell stuff, but it would be nice to have some stuff that deals with things already in play, or stuff that maybe bounces things. I mean, the other thing you can do with this, there's other enchantments where you can, you know, give creatures certain types of evasion as well, which would be another possible way to go with this deck. More, you know, a newer card that does that is the card, was it Fly? Fly will do that. That's an enchantment. That over there. And I suspect if I spent a bit more time on looking through Planeswalkers, I imagine there's a number of planeswalkers which would support things slightly better. There's also some, I think, sphinxes as well, which sometimes, blue sphinxes, which sometimes work well in these, decks of this type as well. So there's plenty of other stuff to play around with in terms of just tweaking the deck. And as we're playing blue, I think I mentioned earlier, there's quite a lot of additional counterspell stuff that we could play. I'm sure there's quite a lot of like modal spells as well. And we can, things like soul manipulation, which allow you to either counter a target spell or return a target creature from your graveyard. And I don't think we've got much stuff in here that bounces things as well either, and that's always an option to play around. And of course the obvious things is there's certain utility creatures in blue and black which just buff creatures based on the fact you're playing blue and black. So plenty of stuff to think about. Anyway, I'm going to stop the episode here. This is a Krydle of Baldur's Gate build. I don't think it's necessarily a super popular commander to build round. Mill's not always a good avenue to go down, just because it's just tricky to pull off a lot of the time. But saying that, there's some pretty cool interactions here and synergies going on. So once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now.